can't say. That's just all I get.
It makes me think, why the hell do I want to leave and let them win?
There's a real loss of independence. I think I anticipated that loss of independence, so I'm able to embrace it, whereas some people, I think, it catches them off guard and it can make you really resentful.
Oh, my kids will never be grateful of everything that I gave them, everything that I sacrificed, very modernist way of thinking of like, I live for
they owe
myself.
Me that. Yeah.
I could have vacationed. Like, how hard is it really to become a mayor in a small town?
Now he wants to be mayor.
No.
No.
The wind to carry me far away from here, and as I fly, I'll take with me moments left behind. I want the sea to rescue me and carry me away.
Welcome to another episode of The Art of Existence,
Cottage edition.
the Cottage edition. We were going to be talking about today. Well, it's a cottage, so you're relaxed. You start thinking because you have the time. So I think we're going to talk about the changes in life. We can talk about how we've changed since we've had a baby. 3 months.
4 months.
As individuals, as in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about changes in the business and changes in life, in responsibilities, I think. What have you seen change in your life personally?
In the last 4 months since having a baby?
In the last 4 months since you've had a baby.
I mean, for me, it's been everything because obviously I stopped working to stay home with the baby. And so my routine's totally different. I don't commute to work anymore. I don't go to work anymore. I'm not seeing the same people anymore. And I'm not waking up at the same, it's totally different. I go to sleep when the baby goes to sleep and I wake up when the baby wakes up. And I've pretty much just, you kind of have to give in to the new normal, the new routines. Also, all the things we used to do, super easily, we used to run errands all the time together. Or just even we used to go to the movies all the time. And
We can't do that anymore.
We can't do any of that anymore. Now one of us is always at home with the baby.
Do you feel like yourself or?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's totally different. I think obviously what you're doing for work makes up a big part of who you are because it's your whole week, right? And it normally influences the people who are around you because you're always at work or whatever else. So what you're reading, what you're saying, what you're doing. So that has been a huge adjustment for me. I mean, I'm going back to work, so we'll see what it's like to transition back. That'll be hard too. But obviously it's just I feel like a little bit of a watered down version of myself. I'm not using my brain like I'm used to using and that kind of thing, and not really. I mean, you're facing challenges all day because parenting is a challenge, right? But it's not the same. I'm used to facing a lot of intellectual challenges, and that doesn't really present itself when you're at home with a baby all day.
Do you feel yourself having some sort of appreciation or realization of what it is to be a mom?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't.
Because you were pregnant for 9 months.
Yeah.
So you had time to think and dream of is this going to be like this? It's going to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the comparison of what you thought it was going to be like to what it actually is like?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I feel like it's lived up to its expectation. I think I had the right expectations that it was going to be kind of all-consuming, and you just have to dive in and let yourself do it fully. Because if you resist it, I think that's when you get very resentful. Like when I'm talking about giving up work and stuff like that, I don't feel they're just changes I've noticed, but they're not things that I'm feel upset about that I gave up work or anything. But I know a lot of people really struggle if they're like a little more reluctant to give things up, or maybe they might become resentful that they can't do the things they used to, even if that is just going out to restaurants and going to movies and stuff like that. Like there's a real loss of independence. I think I anticipated that loss of independence, so I'm able to embrace it, whereas some people, I think, it catches them off guard and it can make you really resentful. So I think I saw that all coming. The only thing that I think is really different is I didn't anticipate how much it was going to change, like the time we spend together. So that was that was kind of surprising to me. But other than that, I feel like I kind of knew, like, for the first year, you just got to roll with it.
I saw this video or someone saying something that like it stuck to me, and it made me feel, well, I'll say first. So somebody says on this video says, "Oh, your kids are never grateful. Oh, your kids will never be grateful for everything that you gave up, for you being a parent for them." And instantly, or the first feeling that I got was like resentment, a little bit of resentment. Like, oh, my kids will never be grateful of everything that I gave them, everything that I sacrificed. Very modernist way of thinking of like, I live for
they owe
myself.
Me that. Yeah.
I could have vacationed. I could have been an Instagram model. I don't know, whatever.
This guy's got big plans. So got canceled.
You know what I mean? What people would say, like, a lot of people think that it's a huge sacrifice, and it is, but that prevents them from having children. And then that resentment didn't last for more than a couple seconds. And then I talked in my head to that person, saying like, well, you're an idiot. You don't have children for them to thank you. You have children.
They don't owe you anything, really.
They don't owe you anything. And it's not like you are doing something for them and waiting for them, like, thank me.
Are you going to appreciate me?
You know?
Yeah.
Like, you're not God. You're not, your job, you had them, is to sacrifice and to help them be the best that they can be. And the journey is the gift. You get to see those little tiny things and sacrifice everything into a vessel that will live on past you. And not just a thing, it's a living thing with a soul that will love you. And at the same time, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I'm the child. I was never grateful. That's not true. I was always some sort of level of grateful to my mom, depending on how much life I've lived and context I've had of life. Like when we had our baby, and I saw you give birth, I'd never seen that. I'd never experienced that.
First emotion, trauma. Second emotion, I need to hug my mom immediately.
It gave me an immense amount of gratefulness and love and appreciation of what my mom did.
Yeah, to bring you into the world.
Bringing me into the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just disagreed with what that person said. I think it was just very selfish and very wrong. You don't have children for them to thank you and owe you something.
Right.
You have them to just pour everything you have into them.
They are, like you said, there is times in your life when you, hopefully, if you have a healthy relationship, you do experience gratefulness for your parents. But you can never be grateful enough for what they, like, you know what I mean? I think that's the thing, is a child will never maybe fully conceptualize what you've had to give up, for example. And they don't have to. And they don't have to, and that's not why you're having kids. And
you shouldn't want them to.
Exactly, yeah.
You're having children for your experience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What about you? What have you noticed in the changes in the last 4 months in yourself? Or, I mean, even changes, I mean, you're getting a different perspective of my personality change or my life change.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. We have something that can consume everything if we let it. Not in a bad thing, but you can get, like, I still have to work, but I can let the feeling of wanting to be completely consumed with our baby take over. And then you can easily push everything. I think it's shown me perspective and how much things don't matter except your
family, your children.
So it's harder for me to sacrifice not wanting to be with my baby, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just harder to, it's easier and harder. Like it's easier to just say, I won't do that. I won't do that. I won't do that. Yeah, just it's easier for me to not feel like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. I just kind of want to be around my baby. But I see the time investment that it is, because then you can't do things that you should be doing because you're trying to have a newborn.
Yeah, it is all consuming.
So it's hard to do multiple things and not sleep well. Even if you're taking care of her at night, like I'm around. So like it is, it's not like the same kind of sleep. It's not the same kind of everything. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Not for 1 second have I thought that it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, it's definitely different once the sleep is a big change. Like the human body needs sleep, man. When you don't sleep, it's like, it can be really difficult to find the motivation to just keep going, to keep working hard, to keep and doing anything other than caring for the baby. Because obviously there's other things that need to be done. We still have laundry to do. We still have groceries to buy. We still have dinner to make. That's like, even apart from like your work, right? Like we have a life to keep running. And also I think we're trying to be mindful, or especially me, like not to completely lose ourselves to parenthood, because I think we know people who they completely lose themselves to parenthood because that's, all the plate can hold. And then when you come out on the other side, your kids are a little bit older, whatever, it's like you've completely lost part of your personality, right?
Yeah, I think if we talk about like what has changed in our relationship, I think that I always say I think that. Let's change the word. No, I don't know how to start a sentence without saying. From my perspective, we have an incredible relationship compared to others.
I'll take it.
Not shaming, but sure, take it as an insult. I don't care. You are around other relationships and you see their ebbs and
dynamic,
flows.
let's say.
They're dynamic. And I think our relationship is pre-baby was very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
We didn't fight. We aligned in all big aspects of our lives, where we're going. Very healthy, just everything was great. And then baby is born. And you start seeing the cracks. You start seeing the stress. And I think I told you this, that I saw it as if like our relationship, instantly when the boy was born, someone pressed pause. Someone paused the relationship. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, I feel like we stopped growing together. Like everything us just boom, stop. And it became the baby. And obviously that's scary. And then you start thinking, holy shit, imagine the people that didn't even have a good relationship.
Like, I don't know what they're doing. But I know what they're doing. They're getting a divorce.
Yeah. Like imagine the people that, no sleep, grouchy. Like we something new that we started like snapping at each other a little.
Especially the first like 3 weeks.
Yeah. A little bit of like, I don't know what to call it, like rudeness, like
bickering
and stuff. But at the same time, I would tell myself, damn, but what if it was the relationships that just were terrible?
Right.
If you're in a terrible relationship, like there's no lie, like
right.
Like
yeah. I mean, they really struggle with parenting. That's why so many people
cursing
get
at you, I
divorced.
think that's a terrible relationship.
I mean, of course.
Like I'd never tolerate cursing at each other.
No, of course not.
I think that's just hugely disrespectful.
Raising your voice, all that stuff.
Yeah. That's just a way of like use
it's a little
bit
too much accepted now, I think.
Yeah, cursing at
Do you think the camera can see that chipmunk?
Probably.
One thing I've noticed that's changed is I've seen tiny like baby things, like baby animals. It's like even more precious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, it was like a pause because why we had not had our marriage is still incredible. But let's speak before baby. Why we had like such an incredible marriage is because we devoted an enormous amount of attention towards our marriage, and we were very, very attentive to each other. And more than I think your average couple. And obviously, like overnight, me especially, like I can't possibly be as attentive to you as I was before because even my brain is like now been hardwired to be attentive to the baby first, right? And all the things that we used to do together, getting out of the house together and all that stuff, is just not possible right now. And it gets easier and easier as the months go on, but I mean that's a huge adjustment, right? A huge adjustment. So you really have to, I don't know how couples can prepare. I guess just having realistic expectations helps. I mean, I think we had that, but there was no way to know what it was really going to feel like.
Yeah, there's no way. Even if people tell you, you don't know how you're going to react.
Yeah.
You don't know where the cracks in your relationship are going to show. So it's hard to prepare for that. But I guess just have it coming in with a good relationship would be good.
Yeah, and I think patience is like
Because-
this is not the end all. Like this is like we're working through a challenge, which is like starting parenthood.
Because what I think that more and more ties couples together, let's call them couples, because a lot of people aren't getting married nowadays. Non-religious couples are put together for their almost like life experience, I guess.
Oh, they have fun together. Well, let me tell you what. Once you start that epidural drip, fun is over, big boy. If you're together
Right.
because you enjoy having fun together,
Yeah.
you just hit your expiry date. Well, a temporary expiry
And then
date.
sometimes couples like, can we talk about your parents? Not really.
No.
So,
That out for
Okay.
sure. Are you out of your mind?
sometimes people come together for a mission, let's say, a mission, a goal, an end goal. And if they're not religious, we'll forget the religious because it's a deeper conversation. Generally, people in a relationship come together for a mission, whatever that mission is. Experiencing your life together because you like their company and retiring, and like that's the mission, the goal. Sometimes that goal is raising your children. Like you got pregnant, or you decided to, you got pregnant or decided to have a baby with somebody that wasn't like the person or something, right? And your end goal is, the goal is, we have to raise these children. And the whole thing is raising the children. And then the children leave. And then you're like, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah.
You accomplish the goal, now what? But you never build a relationship. You were like,
Yeah, we had a lot of time to build our relationship before we had kids.
you're like war veterans coming home from the war. Like, now what do I do?
Yeah. I think it's hard too because, like, obviously, like I said, like, I think you're used to me before baby, which is somebody who's working all the time, using her brain all the time, wants to come home and have intellectually stimulating conversations, all those kinds of things that we really enjoy to do together. Then, you know, you like kind of see my passion burning through work and stuff like that. You go to overnight, I'm like, I can't even hold intelligent conversation right now. Like, so part of me is so different that, like, you're like, well, where's my wife, you know? When one person changes so much overnight, it's like the relationship obviously is gonna have to accommodate for that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that gives me reassurance is that we know that we have a bigger goal than just children at the end of this relationship, like for this relationship, right? So that helps me be like, okay, this is a moment in time where we have to dedicate everything to the baby, and that's fine because that time will pass when we have teenagers and they don't want to be around us.
Yeah.
But
The day will come. I think we're balancing well, trying to figure out what our new life looks like and our new relationship and our new family dynamic and all that stuff, right? And it'll change again the next time we have a baby and the next time. It's like there's so much that will come that will change you. You have to be able to adapt to those things, right? Or else you're in trouble. But I mean, the business has also been having a lot of changes. What do you think? How do you feel when you have to make changes in business? And I know you're changing a lot of the way the services are done and all that stuff. And
yeah, when we started in 2019, we were just, well, first of all, we were just trying to see what was. We didn't have like an idea of a business or the idea was marketing or video or
Question
so
mark?
yeah, so it was just let's make money, like we have to get paid. And so we fell into like content generating, like video making video for social and that kind of stuff. And I never felt confident or comfortable selling that as is. What we did was great, like everything you could see, like even just the progress of like 2019, in the fall of 2019 when we started, into what we do now. Like even then I look at the stuff, I'm like, wow, that's actually really cool and really good. But
Check out Autumn Falls.
yeah, I didn't see, I didn't, with my business mindset, I didn't see that being the service or a service, because I didn't see a connection between the video and what, like giving video to a big company and then it gets sales. Like it doesn't work that way. Like the video, if it's going to be for generating, attention or leads or whatever, is one piece of it. And most people and most companies, small businesses, don't really know what marketing is. I'll pause it.
I can't even hear you.
Go pause it.
She probably needs.
Go pause it. So we had to stop the podcast, chat, in the cottage because our baby girl was a little not having it. So a couple days later, here we are at home.
We were talking about changes to the business and how you felt about. Now you're trying to figure out. You're kind of getting more concrete in your ideas of what you might want to do with the business, and that's coming with some changes and some definitions and all that. New services.
Yeah, I like how you said that. Like when you start a business, you're just kind of trying to make money as quick as you can to make it feasible to hire and just grow and just to keep going. And sometimes, if it's your first business, especially, you don't really know what you want to offer or sell, or you can have an idea, but then reality hits and then you realize that that's not the best idea. And I think that's what we've evolved to, a point where we don't really want to just sell content, because if the client is not really prepared to use that as a tool in its overall strategy for their business, they don't get the results that they expect. And it doesn't feel good for the business to just give content and not to give our service and not get the end results. I like to focus on business and not just fancy videos. I want whatever I do to, at the end of the day, make more money for that business that is paying me. And that has pushed us to develop a service that is solving a problem. That problem being making more money. And so it's not just a video, it's not just some content or running ads. It's, I'm gonna solve this problem with all these tools that I have at my disposal. In the real estate side, I see a lot of people developing and starting, they're top performers individually, and they are salesmen, saleswomen, they're salespeople, but they want to have their own business and they want to get their own team started.
Take it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I think in their mind, that's the natural progression. Oh, I'll have my own team under me. It'll be the Mackenzie Wolf team and have agents under you.
Doesn't sound bad. I was going to get into real estate.
And with that, you get into a territory that you're not prepared for and you don't know what you're getting into, which is running and operating a business. And you have to take a step back of being a realtor, which is a salesperson, and start building a business. And that's hard for people to understand, that now you're a business owner, because they think, oh, I'm a business owner because I'm a real estate agent. No, you're not. You're a salesperson. You're a salesperson who has a little more open field to do a little bit of marketing, a little bit of this, so it feels like you're a business operator, but you're not. Once you get to building your team, you are, and you'll face the challenges of that. And one of those challenges, I think, are systems for operating, systems for the sales, systems for marketing, systems for managing your team. And you don't have those systems, so it's going to be a little chaotic. And what we want to propose and what we want to sell now is those systems for lead generation, and not just content for lead generation. No, making it a, what would be a word for multifaceted?
All encompassing.
Yeah, like an omni-channel, if you want to use layman's terms, like
That's the opposite of layman's terms.
What?
Omni-channel?
No, I was gonna say, if you want to use a layman's terms, would be like multifaceted system where you have actual systems with strategies, with implementations that are repeatable every month, that you can improve every month because you're getting data and feedback of how to get leads from social, sure, from events, from professional referrals, from the most important, referrals. Because if you have a good service, most clients that I've worked with that are top performers, their main lead generation is referrals.
But even if you get a referral, you have to have a system to receive that referral.
Yes, you're not going to get referrals. You might get referrals.
Somebody just passes on your phone number. So
Exactly, but if you don't have a system, a strategy on how to get more referrals from the people that you're helping, because you know you're doing an incredible job, so they would refer you. If you don't have a system to get those referrals and then nurture those referrals, that's the whole encompassing service that we're providing. It's setting up systems for running a business. And when you run a business, you need systems that are repeatable month after month. Not like, this is what we do, I try to do this. No, you have to be able to have a system where you plug in people that you hire, they run your system that you already have, that you know it's working, maybe improve it as you go, and you can take a step back and not be part of those channels, those lead generations, because if it's up to just you, you're going to be doing everything. Because I'm sure you still want to sell your own properties and make your own commission, not just run the business. So that's what we're going to be doing now, selling our proven system to have leads from every which way you can, so you can grow an actual business and take on more team members, whatever you want to do, but just have a healthy business. And that, so it's a big shift, right? Because we're not longer offering just social media content. We are offering strategies on how to communicate with past clients to get more leads, throwing events, everything you have to do.
Analytics, all that stuff.
Analytics,
is now part of it.
Measure every single thing that happens in your business, so you can measure, is it giving any results? No. Why are we doing it? Is this giving most of the results? All right, let's put most of the effort over here. So because, cut back to, I don't know, any smart entrepreneur, but let's reference Hormozi. If you're not measuring it, it's not happening. If you're not measuring it, you don't know.
You're not maximizing.
You don't know if it's working. And so, that's what we're going towards now. And it's a massive change. But that anxiety that I had before, when I would just sell content and it's very good, I would try to do the best, so there's a call to action, so there's push towards transaction of just selling that. Is is it working? Is it not? Now we have such a narrow person that we're helping with criteria that we're meeting, that you have to meet or we won't work with you, because we won't give you the best results. And now anybody that we work with, number one thing we do is set up every single measurement analytics tool, so we know that anything that we do is working. And it feels good. It feels good that we're moving away from the uncertainty and actually providing solutions and results.
Yeah, I think it feels good because you're redefining and resetting things up based on the knowledge that you got already in the I don't want to say in the field, but in the industry, maybe a better
Mm-hmm.
word. So yeah, feels like you're applying the knowledge that you've retrieved from your experience in the industry, right?
Yeah, and I really love business more than anything. In setting up systems for businesses to improve is what gets me excited. That at the end of the day, you're not tied to an agency or somebody or an employee, a key person in your business to make it succeed. That these systems that you've already implemented is what keeps going. And if someone leaves, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to be worried about that, because you know that you can just plug in somebody else, some basic training on the systems, and keep it working. I wanted to touch in responsibilities, changes in life, how we're changing. Our personal life has changed a lot, our business has changed a lot, and how that reflects into like responsibilities. That's personal responsibility, business, community responsibility. There's a realtor that I see on Instagram quite a bit that has moved to Mexico-ish, kind of, and is starting to sell Mexican real estate
That's cool.
to like Canadians, right? Like not real estate, what do they call it? Not residential real estate to Mexicans, but like
Time
travel, yeah, vacation, Mexican
Homes.
beach stuff to like Americans or Canadians. And
I'm in. Send me the referral.
to me, I start thinking, I don't know what the reason, and I'm going to invite him to the podcast so we'll get the reason, but I don't know why the reason of doing that would be. From the content that I consume from him, that like you could kind of tell, and I could be wrong, but it's more like I would want to be in Canada because of all the taxes, so everything with the government, everything with politics going on, and it's not good as maybe Mexico, or like I don't know, but it's something along those lines. Me being a Mexican and not understanding what the Mexican country
Grass isn't greener, let's say.
I mean, it's definitely not. Obviously, it's a bubble right there because you're trying to sell to, dollars, not Mexican people. But that makes me think, and I've had that feeling too. Like, is Canada becoming a little too, too many taxes, too socialist, too all this? Do we leave? Like, you had that opportunity. We had that possibility to have an opportunity to move to Dallas for your work, and anybody that likes freedom and like lower taxes and business wants to go to the US.
USA. That's just how I get it.
And it makes me think, why the hell do I want to leave and let them win? Like,
Sure.
The people that are setting the rules and setting the, like, why do I get to leave? Why do I get to abandon and just like move on to the better place? Now we have a responsibility with business, which is providing the best service that we can and like taking care of our clients. We have a responsibility of raising a child, give it the best future that we can, and teach it morals and responsibilities and everything so it can be like a proper human that's not just selfish and live it for itself. You have to start taking responsibility more of like your personal life and your community, and not letting other people dictate for you, which means, like, how hard is it really to become a mayor in a small town?
Now he wants to be mayor.
No.
No, I think what you're kind of reflecting on is that like our society is so built on escapism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because us and most of our peers, I'd say we fall like middle class, especially for people in their late 20s, early 30s type thing. And so we have the means to escape.
Pack up and go.
Pack up and go. Possibilities are endless. We could move anywhere. We could go here for 3 years, move there for a year, like move around, whatever. But there comes a time, and that sounds great, right? Because you never have to settle somewhere. So the reality of living in that place never really weighs too heavily on you, right? You never get to realize, oh, what are the local laws they're passing that are actually super inconvenient for me? Or how is it inconvenient if they just put 4 new condos up on our road and now there's like 10,000 people shopping at the Walmart that's meant to be supporting a very small area of town, you know? So it's like those types of things. If you're always on the move, you're just unaware of that kind of stuff because you're not there long enough to be bothered by it, let's say. But there comes a time when you realize like, okay, if I'm setting up roots in a place, and I think we are meant to be rooted somewhere, I'm also not choosing just where to be rooted because it's what works best for me. If I was going to choose what was rooted best for me, I'd be living in Florida on the beach because I'm a sunshine girl, right? But we are choosing to stay in Ontario because it maximizes our children's opportunities for being close to family and having, you know, potentially cousins, or, you know, even just being around their grandparents the most, or us having the most support from family, or from long-term friends that we have. And even just things like we take into account like that I'll have maternity leave here in Canada, whereas if we had moved to Dallas, I wouldn't have the same opportunities for maternity leave. And I would have to go back to work a lot sooner whenever we have another baby or whatever. So those are the kinds of things that a responsible adult is taking into consideration. Like, my parents are super young, so it might seem crazy to think like, oh, we're gonna choose where to live right now because my 48-year-old parents are gonna age eventually. It's like, yeah, actually kind of, because we might not be thinking about it now, but what I saw a lot through work is people who they are our age, they say, oh, my parents are young, whatever, I'm gonna move to BC, away from Ontario, right? Well, mom and dad get sick overnight, or you find out you're deadly ill like in an instant, right? That's how life works. So next thing you know, you live in BC, your parents are here, God forbid one of your parents passes away or something like that, and you realize I'm nowhere near my family to support them emotionally, physically, financially, any of those things, right? And oh, well, now I'm realizing my kids barely know their grandparents, or they barely know their cousins because we chose to move out because we like being on the water, or whatever, we like whatever else about BC or about Florida or about Texas or whatever. So there's a lot of considerations I think that have to be made when we think about our responsibilities. And like we talked before about, well, you don't owe your parents anything, right? Like we were talking about that when about our own parenthood. That's true. And at the same time, there's a responsibility that comes with family. And a lot of people, that's really disregarded in our society now. So no, we don't owe our parents anything just by the virtue of them giving birth to us or whatever like that, right? And like we talked about yesterday, but
like we don't, but at the same time,
if you want to live consciously and responsibly, then caring for one another comes out of that, right? So it's like, it's not, yeah, I don't think I'm wording it properly, but I think you know what I mean. So yeah, I think we're just coming to a point in our lives, like before we had our baby, like before we got pregnant, we were thinking like, okay, if we're gonna move, this is the time, because this is our last moment of being unrooted, kind of. And we've talked before about how I always lived in the same house my whole life, right? And that allowed me to build friendships because I always went to I never switched schools or anything like that, right? I even went like on to high school with all my friends from elementary school and stuff like that. And that had like enormous benefits for me because I was able to, even as a child, experience community, right? And you moved around quite a bit, so you had a different experience. And we see the value now from both of our experiences in allowing our kids to really be rooted somewhere, right? So I don't know, I think you just start to think about those things. And so it's not just about where I want to live, it's about what's best for our children, what's best for our family, how can we most deeply serve our community and things like that. Because like I said, if you're constantly moving around, you never come to care about the place you live. And if you don't care, you're not involved.
It's the example that they use, like you renting and owning a house. When you rent a house, you don't care about the yard. You don't care about like...
Cuts to a photo of our backyard.
You know, but when you own your own property, your own house, it's like you want to make it better. Like it's yours. You want to paint it. You want to customize it. And that's what it is. Like you have to own the place where you live and go to the community center, go to a group, be part of something, be part of local politics, because at the end of the day, yes, maybe Canada's going down a road that we're not so happy with, but I think it's primarily one because of forces of people that want to control it and want their own personal things, but most importantly, I think it's because the general public is not caring enough to take part of the system because it's a chore. It's kind of boring and it kind of sucks. Go into public, debate, or like open discussion of like, should we build this building or not? Like, who wants to do that on a Thursday afternoon? But it's on you to make this place better where you live in, and that's part of the responsibility that I think that I'm more seeking and putting on my shoulders, and I think people should too as well, because wherever you go, they're gonna have problems, and you can't just be a visitor in a place until it goes bad, and the next, because one, the problems will always catch up, two, you might not get out in time, and three, you won't be happy. And happiness is not a pursuit you shouldn't pursue happiness, but you're never gonna have friends. You're never gonna have, like you said, your family's gonna die wherever they are. And at the end of the day, you're gonna be old, miserable, selfish, just like everything that a person should not be.
Right.
And hey, if you can be happy with that, go right ahead. Maybe we don't want you around here. But
Can you tell we're sleeping right?
yeah, we're tired. But yeah, I think it comes down to responsibility.
Yeah. So vote Alex Wolf for mayor of Oakville 2025.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Did you enjoy your cottage trip?
I did, yeah. It's funny to do things now, like with the baby, so different than how we used to enjoy them before. Some of it is so much even better, and some of it is a lot harder. So it's just fun to see the world through her tiny little frustrated eyes.
Our screaming eyes.